Ladies and gentlemen, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are on the globe. Welcome to the big show. It's me, hurrah! Let me just mute all these off. Let's all mute all these facts. I'm not going to tell you the one of those going there. Big Joe Shep here on behalf of, joined by the lads live from their page and live throughout all these 100-odd forums and groups and social media platforms across the globe tonight. Thanks very much for joining. There's a Minky. I'll explain very briefly what that is because I was in the Royal Military Police and we were called monkeys. That's very disrespectful. These lot were all engineers, Royal Engineers, and I felt one or two of their collars in their time. That's why they're a bit dubious about me. So I am the pet Minky. Welcome to tonight's show. The lads, the lines in pink. Why have I put my name behind a tour company for the British and Irish Lions tour? Well, actually, I'm looking at a couple, aren't I? Because people have asked me about this. Who do you think? Who do you recommend? And I think there's something for everybody. And these lads, apart from being UK veterans like myself, UK Forces veterans, and are globally based around the world, I think what they have put together is absolutely phenomenal. It is good priced. They have a hands-on approach to what they do. Everything from guiding you literally by a piece of string if you can't keep up, to drinking with you, taking you to all the best spots in the on the tour. And I can't think of anybody better because with the military and ex-military, it's going to be organised. You're going to get bang for your buck, and it's going to be freaking good crack as well. And that's why Lions and Pink and MSG Tours, who will come on to a little bit, is why I am supporting these guys and what they do. So here we go, on with the show. Thanks to all the forum admins and owners for allowing us to share this, because it is about rugby and it's just raising awareness that there's something out there for everybody, for moving forward in the line sport. So here we go. Let's introduce the lads. We've got Dave Johnson. Good evening to you.
Hi, how are you doing? You all right, mate?
Good man. We've got Scott Wilson. Scott, how are you?
I'm good. Nice to be here. Nice to be here.
We've got Andy Walton. Andy.
Hello. Nice to meet you, mate.
And we've got the upside down head man, Stu. James, how are you, mate?
Hi, Joe. Cheers for having us on. Hi to everyone out there listening in.
No problem at all. Listen, if you've got any questions for the lads about South Africa or about the tours or the packages they put together, they did the first one in New Zealand. We'll hear a little bit more about that, and it's just a fab thing. So start us off, Dave, very briefly. Give us a little bit of background about yourself and your journey with rugby and what you're trying to create with this.
Yeah, sort of thing, mate. So, cheers for having us on, mate. It's very much appreciated. We're just a bunch of ex-forces blokes who all served together at various points, right, in Cyprus and Northern Ireland. And we all left at various points and we came together again, apart from one of us on here, which is a very a squeaky moment, which he doesn't like to talk about. We all met up again in New Zealand. Stu and Andy decided to, when you're in the squadron bar and you spend all those hours and afternoons in the bar watching England, Wales, Scotland, the Lions, we'd all watched the Lions tour from various bars all over the place. And Andy and Stu had made a pact where they said, you know what, at some point we're going to go and do a tour, right? I'd already been out. Stu and Andy are not far been out themselves. And they said, let's just go and do New Zealand. So they packed up and went for the full tour. I joined them for the final. We did the first and second test. I did. And we all missed the last test. But we all hooked up there. I was a last minute one. They had a storm and laugh. I was at work. Me and Scotty banned us. Wasn't allowed to listen. Wasn't allowed to hit on the messages because he was proper jealous, right? So we're in Wellington after the second test, and another mate of ours, Jace, who's part of the crew, and Heath joined us. So Jace flew in from Ethiopia. Heath flew in from Australia, and we all hooked up in Wellington, and we were having such a good crack. And we met so many people, and they were talking about hotels and flights and drinking and watching the matches and just the whole crack of joining each other. We thought, you know what, we could have a go at this. We like this so much. Meeting people again, the trapped in the pink and meeting so many people, we thought we'd give it a go. And we'd actually hooked up with MSG at this point. They'd helped them. We joined one of their events pre the first test in Auckland, and we had a good crack. And we just thought we'd go for it. And it's basically snowballed from a bit of a drinking discussion agreement Yeah, we'll do it when we get back to Blighty. To well, Christ, 3 years down the road. There's packages under our belt. We're with MSG. We're on the likes of you. You're hosting us a podcast. Yeah, that's the journey, mate. That's the journey.
Absolutely. So what are the in fact I'll sort of use it. We have a show running order, but sometimes I like to keep it mixed up, especially military. Military are really focused, and you know what's coming next. So I'm just going to bugger it all about by saying Scott Wilson. You didn't expect this, did you? What's your favourite drink when you're on tour?
What's the what? Sorry.
What's your favourite drink when you're on tour?
Just so happens, I've got a Guinness there, so I'll stick with a Guinness. Just mention there that Dave didn't mention about watching Ireland. I did notice. He said Scotland, England, and Wales, but he didn't say Ireland, so I'll back up with that one. Yeah, it's definitely a Guinness.
I've just muted them anyway, mate. So
yeah, fair enough. I'll clock that for you, mate. I'll clock that for you.
Yeah, good man. Well done. Other drinks, ladies and gentlemen, are available. Unless Guinness want to come in and help the guys.
No,
good man. So, Scott, what do you what is it you personally sort of want to give people about the tour? We'll sort of run through what happens in the packages and stuff like that. But what do you as an individual want to give somebody who goes on the tour with you?
Well, apart from I mean, on the tour we'll basically drink, sleep, eat, repeat. I think for all that time. But no. I mean, we want to give a good touring mentality, a good touring mentality. Take it a little bit back to the old school. Get the old flashcards out. We've got a song sheet. And just get everyone having a good old fun. The good old crowds, good everyone together. The English, the Welsh, the Scottish, and the Irish, and the South Africans. We did it in Japan actually in the final. We met up with the South Africans, and we had an absolute ball. And it's all about keeping everyone safe as well. We've got people on the know on the inside. We've got Jace there. We've got local residents, and there's obviously a few dodgy places we don't want to go to, but we want to keep people out of that, keep people in a safe group, and and keep everyone together. And also getting it back to grassroots rugby. So not just the tests, but also before the test, just after the test, go into some clubhouses, get a good group of people in there, meet up with the locals, get some money behind their bar, help them out, and just have a really good laugh. Get some food, meet some new people. And all that sort of stuff, really.
Good, and that's
the social is number one.
Yeah, absolutely. I fit in really well too. It ticked an awful lot of my boxes when I sort of did a little bit of due diligence on these lads. Because you know what the engineers and the forces are like. Jesus, they're good at that, but can they put all the rest together? Put a fantastic package together, and I think that it's that grassroots, global grassroots and community rugby that you support as well, and the charity stuff. We're going to come on sort of those, and tying in with MSG Tours and having the beast on board now with MSG. We're going to come back to that a little bit later. I think it all ticks so many boxes. Andy Walton, I'm going to come to you next. Martin Mead, my good friend, is loving the pink. Absolutely. We're going to come on to that in just a second. Andy Walton, I'm just going to cheer you up here. Get yourself ready, mate. Good save yet. O'Rourke, that's to well saved. Scott Wilson is referring to you for that. Dreadful. In fact, you're absolutely right, actually. I missed that. I missed that, actually. There's a yellow card, so straight away for David Johnson. Just shocking missing out the Irish. I mean, Jesus, I can't help me. Eleni Aphrodite Vultepsis, who was on our show on Monday, top girl out there in Greece, as Greek South African in South Africa. Woohoo. Yeah, I think she's open to that. James Lillis says, sounds like a great plan. Jesus, you haven't heard anything yet, James. Great to see you on. I hope that you're well. Gareth Rees, our man in Wales. Hi, gents. Looking forward to hear you boys recounting stories. SA in South Africa is such a great touring destination. I hope to see you there. And Gareth and Dan. There we go. Who else we got? Mark Gardner, the main man. All bow at this point. All bow. Mark Gardner, who runs. Also going to come to you, Mark. Real pleasure doing some stuff with you as well, mate. Thank you for what you lads are doing as well. Right, so Andy Walton, why pink? Why New Zealand? Tell us all about it.
So the pink came about. Obviously, we like breaking down barriers somewhat and breaking that ice. I've known these lads, some of them now over 30 years, and their patter becomes somewhat repetitive. So it's great. It's great to meet locals, and it's great to meet other Lions fans. We decided that if you just wear a red top, no one comes up to you in a bar in a red top and says, "Hi, how are you doing?" So it was about creating something, as people saying why. Every Lions tour, for people who've been on them, they'll know there is guys dressed up as superheroes. There is guys dressed up in Union Jacks or tricolours or whatever. So I think we took again, going back to, because of the friends I've got, I'll go back to Dumb and Dumber. I've seen them in their orange and their blue suits, all in ones, and I was like, I've got a cracking idea, boys. Why don't we wear pink? It was met with a little bit of trepidation at first, like, we're going to look silly. I said, do you know what, though? People will come up and ask why. And at that point, we start chatting. And that it came down to as simple as that. It was just about breaking down that barrier. And it probably never envisaged how well it worked, because from the minute we went to that first game in pink, there were so many people. It sounds silly now when I'm saying it, with the figures, but I don't know. There's on game days. I mean, the one where we were in Rotorua, we must have done well over 1,000 photos of people saying, "Can we get a quick pic?" But from that, sometimes you pick up and say, "Where are you from? Where are you from?" And you get chatting, and we become really good friends. As to why New Zealand, as Dave alluded to, that me and Stu had made a bit of a pact. We joined the army together in '89. And then a couple of years later, we got posted to the same unit. And at some point, we've said, we both, probably like yourself, you're an elder guy, if you like. So you had an army career when it used to be 22 years. So we all had a 22-year career. So you knew that taking away boy service, you knew you were getting out on your 40th birthday. Unless you were an RMP, you're very likely to get fast-tracked through to officer and do a little bit more. So we knew that we were going to get out in 2013, and that was the Lions tour. You get your money off the army, and away we go. It never quite panned out that way, because the army changed the rules of service. Stu got out 2015. I took early retirement early in 2012. So Australia was off the cards, and the next one available became New Zealand. And it became one of those blessings in disguise where, as a rugby nation, it was just phenomenal. So yeah, that's how it all kind of works out, and it works out like to perfection, really.
And sometimes the simplest things are. I mean, in the military, you're right. I mean, I had 30 years in the end, but we've always, no matter what level you get to, you always work this thing on KISS methodology. Keep it simple. I'm stupid. Like overcomplicate it. And I think that really is just. I almost knew when I first came across you, and said, have a look at these lads, how it was going to be. And I've been disappointed yet. Yet you'll learn some things from me, like #DKU. Do keep up. Because there's a little bit, obviously, Scotty Wilson, but we'll sort of keep going. But it's all of that sort of great crack where people understand each other, and you feel like what we're trying to do with the shows and everything we try and do. You're doing the same. You're looking at everything like you're one of your own customers on the ground, or one of your own fans on the ground who are going. And I think that's what really comes through and sells itself well. Eleni just says that good marketing, on the ping. Of course it is. It's one of those simple things, but it's about engagement. We talk about the global rugby family, but sometimes it can be, in some form, some place, and be a bit vitriolic if we're not, But we're trying to bring the global rugby family together, and by doing what you're doing, you're engaging. It's that first step of engagement with people to break down barriers, because it doesn't matter where you're from. It's just a great little bit of crack. In fact, Heath I've just noticed that Heath, you've just reset your thing, because originally you came up as being Lions in Pink. Good morning, Heath. Byron is one of the team from Lions in Pink Tours as well. Loving the banter, watching from Australia, 05:30. Good morning, yourself. I hope you didn't go to bed last night in anticipation at your teammates, because that's the way we do. We support everybody. Matthew Titch Davis is saying, had the pleasure of bumping into these pink-suited gentlemen in Japan. Fair to say a lot of people are going to have a blast with them in South Africa, and that's you can't beat that when people are coming on that you haven't paid to say how good you are. They just come on because there you are. It doesn't go amiss, does it? Let's turn to Scott, because I like you, mate, because you non-Irish very, very well. So tell us about Lions in Pink tours. What do you do on it, the mentality, the sort of thing you're likely to go through when you go on one of your tours, buddy.
Right, so we're obviously going to meet up. We're always going to be there for you. So from the minute you step off the plane or whatever, we're going to be there to greet you. We're going to make sure that everyone's looked after from the first second, and that's important. We've learned from other people who've been on tours. I won't mention any names of what tour groups, but we've learned that that's lacking in some places. So that's one of our main, ethos is to make sure that people get looked after all the time. They know what's going on, all that sort of stuff, and they don't have to worry about too much. We can do all the worrying. They can just sit back and relax, have a beer, and just do what they need to do and watch some rugby and just, go around and visit all the attractions. So there's that. We're also going to bring like-minded people in, because the idea of it is they see what we like, they're going to be like us, and all the people will be the same. So if you want to get on it, we're going to get on it. If we want to have a chill time, we'll have a chill time. If that sort of stuff. So you can, you're going to be mixing the right sort of people. Not that means anything against anybody else, but you can see where I'm coming from. The common ground, obviously, is rugby. And that's what it's all about. So we want to make sure we're in the right place for the tests. Obviously, there's a ticket, the ticket thing, but we need to make sure we get people in and around the right sort of area. So we want to make sure we can access the grounds. We know where the pubs are going to be, what the good establishments are, the good ones to go to, and the ones that might not be so jovial, shall we say? I don't know. But yeah, and that's it really. To stay with us, we're going to keep it all together, really, and make sure we all have a good time.
Tell us a little bit more. Dave touched on it before. A little bit more about the support to local clubs. So you go to the day before the game, is it?
Explain so we've got one scheduled in at the moment. I'm not even going to try and say it. Dave can help me out. How'd you say it? We've got after the second test, the Sunday after the second test, we're going to go to a local club there. We've got a friend over there that's going to help us out and get to a club, and hopefully we're going to bring a lot of people on. But we've got a few more in the pipeline as well. Did actually meet some people while in Japan. Got a few contact numbers there, some clubs we might want to visit, and we just need to make sure they're all in the right place at the right time, because obviously with the touring, wherever we are on the tour.
So can I jump in there?
Sorry, Andy, go on.
I was going to say, so the plan and our schedule, the way we've got it, is that we will always try and get into the town or the city where the game is the day before, and that way that evening before, which we found is always a cracking night anyway, before any of the, whether it be tests or the warm-ups, because the anticipation is rising, that, everyone's getting a bit excited, the beers are flowing. But what we've agreed between us and what we've worked out with MSG is that we will go into somebody's local small town rugby game, rugby clubhouse, and we will say, right, well, do you know what? We don't have to be in pink t-shirts, but we're going to bring our A game with singing. So a load of us who are on tour are going to rock up at a clubhouse of a lower league, as low down possible as can be, as long as they've got a clubhouse that sells beer. And we'll rock up, have a bit of a sing-song, get interacting with the locals.
Bit of dancing.
Hopefully they'll have got in touch with their friends and family. And then it turns into, we get to see and hear about the real life of what it is living and growing up in these towns and cities from their point of view. But ultimately, it'll be a sing-off. They'll bring their singing game. We'll bring our singing game with a touring crowd. We all have a load of beers with each other. And ultimately, all the money goes behind their bar and helps them for the progress of their club.
That's it's just like a spin-off win-win, isn't it, really?
Yeah. We thought that the club that Scott was mentioned there, we thought we'd seen some awesome clubs. But this one that Stu and Andy know, Darren, one of the foundations that we're supporting on the tour with MSG is the Good Sport Foundation, the Good Sport Trust, sorry. Their rugby club near Nordhawk is in this, it's in this basin, and you can see the sea from it. It's round the corner from Cape Town, right? But literally right above it is a load of vineyards. So we'll do a recovery day on the Sunday after the match. We'll go up to this rugby club. Those guys are hopefully going to do a bit of a game. We'll do some sing-offs, do a load of recovery beers behind their bar. And then before we get too sloppy and have a good crack with them guys, we can literally go and do a sundown at the vineyard, which is literally about half a K behind you, overlooking the sea, sundowners. a bit of red wine, some good food. It's just like, I was there in February, and you're like, the team got a pond, so none of us are going to get naked, Walton, and you can even do sundowners in the pond naked with red wine. Walk out back after buying about 3 cases of the bloody thing, and we're all squared. It's gonna be awesome.
There's no Guinness in the vineyard, though, is there?
Well, actually, I noticed it's going to bring Stu in there. I noticed the Stu's on a drop of the red. I'm normally on a drop of Malbec myself. Good man yourself, Stu. You like that, you see. Dave, just say these 3 words for me. Say, God save Ireland. God save Ireland.
God save Ireland.
Good man yourself. So
the only reason he jumped in, Joe, is because you knew you weren't going to talk to him again.
You can see the look on his face. It's like, see the flash show thing. I'll get me coat.
My mum's proud. I've just said that. She's happy.
Good man, Stu. It's all about that. In fact, I think it was Elaine brought up about that quality assurance, and you provide that sort of safety. It's a very military thing, isn't it? Leave no man behind, leave no woman behind. Why is that so important on these type of tours, that you give that quality assurance and you look after the safety of every individual on it?
Yeah, it's a very valid point, to be fair, Joel. Like, with the experience that we've got as a team, I think we've got 135 years, I think, across the board in the military, and with that comes what we call threat assessment, where as individuals we naturally can read a situation very, very early and deem it right. This is not the right place to be due to the atmospherics on the ground, or we'll choose locations where it's beneficial for the individual, whether they're in small buddy pairs or in a group, that they're going to be safe in locations where we can read situations very, very easily, because there comes naturally the squaddies, you know what I mean, or ex-squaddies, even when you go into a pub, read the atmosphere and say, yeah, this is not a good place to be. Let's bug out here and move to the next one.
Absolutely.
You get the old spider senses going, and we noticed that when it comes to understanding what the client wants. When we went to New Zealand and Japan and watching, observing other tour operators, when it was very corporate level-ish to extent, where there was no one looking after the small groups or the larger middle range groups. Yeah. So we saw that instantly and said, do you know what? There's people here who probably shouldn't be walking around or going there or whatever, or because they had no choice because they weren't being looked after.
Yeah.
With us, especially with us, is the fact that understanding the threat and understanding the perceived threat in locations where we can understand that and chaperone people around, because we'll always be with them as a group.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, South Africa, beautiful place, but it's like anywhere in the world that there are some places that you would want to avoid. I remember in Japan there was a young autistic lad who got split up from his family, and he was lost for about 36 hours, and they found him, put a sort of global thing out. But it's that sort of it only takes the one, and it's that concept of leaving no individual behind. I think it's almost, I think somebody put it in here, it's the closest you're probably going to get to a touring team scenario. Anybody who's played rugby or been sort of attached to a rugby team that's gone on a tour, that's effectively what you're trying to create with them. But you're bringing the locals in, you've got that quality assurance, you've everything tied in together. But Andy, charity support, because this is a huge piece that you're doing. I mean, yes, you're running as a tour company, and we'll come on to MSG and why you partner them, but most of what you do actually is about making the money to support the charities. Tell us about the charities, brother.
So, and this is where I come back to one of your earlier things where you like bow down. Go on, Mark Gardner. It's spot on. He came up with the concept and this vision where he said it's not always about trying to raise money for yourselves. You can help less fortunate people out. So let's take a cut in anything that we're ever trying to make ourselves. Let's make a difference elsewhere. And he came up with the idea of let's raise R1 million and support some proper grassroots charities from the local community. And then obviously partnered with us. It was great that he said, along with R1 million, is that I have to throw in there that there's got to be a military spin to that as well. Which is Royal British Legion becomes a very obvious choice for us but with the careers that we had, as we said, there's over 130. I think we added before 140 something years between us, and RBL will look after you from day one to your final days through various concepts. So that became the obvious military choice for us. And then from there, in discussion with Mark and with the recce's that have gone on over in South Africa, they came to be the Pink Drive. I think that it's rare to find somebody who's not been touched with a family or friend that's had some form of sadness with cancer. And they primarily, Pink Drive, that they do a mobile going around screening and testing and educating some places that are hard to get to for testicular, cervical and breast cancer. A friend of ours who's an ex-army PTI who'd moved to South Africa 18 years ago or so, he noticed that South Africa had dropped physical education away from their school curriculum. And as a very fit guy himself, Darren Clark, he said, this is not right. And he convinced a couple of locals with him, and they created the Good Sport Trust. And what started with him and two local guys teaching school children, getting them back into doing physical education, within the space of 3 years, had transformed into 21 of them teaching over 10,000 kids. So they had a really fast and quick impact. And from there, they've had some major successes of people who've gone on, never ever would have played rugby, started, got to a good level, and have gone to club and provincial level as well. So that was a great one. And then the recent one, which was, I was amazed that Mark was able to pull it off and bring it on board, but the Beast Foundation. So I'm not going to say the surname because I'll just make myself look fool. But Tendai there, who's there in your picture, who destroyed the Lions almost single-handedly in that first test back in 2009. His foundation is very much similar to what that of Darren's and the Good Sport Trust, but the Beast Foundation is about taking underprivileged children, giving them the opportunity to play sport and to play rugby. And I mean, can you get a better role model to aspire to be than the Beast? The barriers he fought through himself. I mean, you look at 2009. Would that Lions tour, would we have lost 2-1 if the Bees, who moments before, within weeks leading up to that, was almost not going to play for South Africa? But anyway, we've also got Scrum. So we've got the Scrum Foundation, and there's their tagline is "Pass the ball, not the virus." So they're based out of Eswatini, and Eswatini's got like 28% of its population are HIV positive. So this is about educating people from such a young age that, there is ways to stop this disease. But if you can teach them at a young enough age, and they do that through rugby and the mantra of rugby and the core values of respect, discipline, passion, solidarity, so on. And finally, we've got, I think I've named 5. Yes, I think we've got the Little Rose Centre in Soweto, and that's like a one-stop shop for as a creche. It houses young kids who have become orphans. It feeds them. And I think they feed something around 140, 150 kids a day who would go without meals if they didn't have that support. And then they've got the mama there who does like handcrafts locally that they can then sell and become self-sufficient. So I think there's a common theme throughout 5 of the local charities, and that's about getting into educating kids at an early age, which may improve their lives as it becomes later on through the stages of life. But yeah, so Mark's idea, the 1 million rand concept, absolutely over the moon to be part of this, and I'm looking forward to what we can do about how we're going to raise this money and handing it over and seeing how it's used.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant, and thank you for covering all that, because what does come out of it, yeah, the Legion comes out of your own one, because Mark wants to be close to our own heart, and that's fab for the work that they do. But the small charities, it's an extension of you going into, it's small teams, it's going into local small clubs, it's putting money into the local environment. It's the whole thing. Again, it ticks in the box for me. But my mantra of local then global, where you can, and you're doing that, and when I went in and looked at those charities, so I could tag, it was important I wanted to tag them into the post for the show, so that people could go and have a look at them, lads and girls who are watching tonight. Go into just take a couple of seconds, because the Facebook page, it might only have, there's a couple of hundred followers or whatever. Go in and like and follow them, what they're doing. Pick one that you can choose and be part of their journey with the lads as well, because I think that's really freaking important, that somebody at a distance away is thinking about them. Put a little message on their Facebook page, lads. Just tell them that you saw the Lions in Pink show, and that you're thinking about them, and just send them a goodwill. You don't have to send them any money, even just a nice goodwill message, I think will go an awful long way. Andy, thanks for that. So we got Francis Johnson. Says engineers in the 90s and the noughties were milk drinkers, hence the pink. Being 70s engineers were proper Royal Engineers. There you go. Yeah, I think I joined in '83. Certainly by the mid 90s, the late 90s, I had sort of dropped my workload, had significantly dropped off because there were just wussers, really. In fact, actually, saps, which is where sap has come from. There's too meaningful the word saps, isn't it? But I think there's a hearty bit of been drinking gone on through the years in this crowd, you can see. Lorna Price says, good evening. Is it too early to be packing her bags? One of the things about being made an admin in the on the page, as I see all the messages come through. Lorna, I feel I know you already as well. Pack your bags. It's never too early to start packing your bags. And I saw that you got time off work. Fair play, whoever you work for, well done yourself. Andy Micklejohn says, my mate met a couple of these in New Zealand, had grey hairs, he said, only ruled out stew. There you go. Eleni in Greece, there's a great mix of fun and quality assurance. There you go, bravo, absolutely. Gregor Galway up there in the north of Ireland, in White Walker country. Respect, guys, for doing that for the clubs from the ground up. Right, who else have we got on? In fact, I've thrown up MSG Tours. Here we go. Here's from Mark himself. They've raised so they went around 200,000 already towards the £1 million project. The Beast Foundation is the first beneficiary, and we're delighted to get to the first of the 5 landmarks. Absolutely superb. Say hi to Joe S from Mark Brown. He's a good bloke. Is that Mark Brown that I know? Oh, interesting, because you did some work with the English, didn't you? In fact, I'm just going to go back up, because Mark Gardner, who runs MSG, should be on. And Mark Gardner, and I put this on. This, sir, is a link to get into the studio. So if you use Google Chrome as your browser and you click that link, you can go into the studio and meet all your people. So who wants Mark on?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, of course we can.
You're gonna hashtag we want Mark has got to be coming to the rest of the show. So Mark Gardner, get yourself in the studio, mate. We'll get you on.
I know, though, Joe. What he'll be doing now is he'll be polishing his head, so he comes on.
There we go. We'll see if we can get Mark on there. Just to say a quick hello. So that leads us into Dave talking about God Save Ireland, talking about partnering with MSG, mate. What was it about MSG that you? Of course, nobody's going to let you forget it now. You've lost all your customers now from Ireland. Jesus, honestly, I'll tell you what, mate. I get to see you as a sharp all over again. What made you? In all seriousness, what made you pick MSG, mate, buddy? Tell us about partnering with MSG and what you like about them and what they do with you.
I'll recover the Irish crowd, right? My mom's listening in Ballycastle up in the north there, right? So the family's back down, the other family, I think, down Galway. So I'll recover. We'll give it a time. We'll pick up pants off Scotty later when we meet him in Warrington later this month. Serious point. MSG, right? So we've actually shared quite a lot of time with these guys since 2017. Andy hooked up. Andy was like a social media demon in New Zealand So, as with, I mean, you know Adam, right? With the Adopt a Lion piece in New Zealand, whenever we were travelling from town to town, if Andy wasn't driving, which scared the living crap out of me and Stu because he's bar blind, and he was on the back seat looking for places to stay, and he was constantly on Facebook just sourcing this sort of accommodation, driveways, whatever it makes, and he came across Mark on there. So we were staying at the Horse and Trap in Auckland. Shout out Horse and Trap in Auckland before the first test, and Mark helped us out on a few pieces, a bit of tips. He invited us down, and he'd already made sorted a tour out for a military team that was in the area, and he invited us to one of his events. So we rock up on the Saturday morning. I think the Saturday morning at the Horse and Trap in the basement. He's already got a load of guys and gals from, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think they were from the Ronda. They're a local club. They're having a session. He brings in Millsy as a guest speaker. And we're there for quite a few hours, right? Bit of food, bit of grub, bit of drink, having a good crack before we head back to the match. And that was the start of the relationship. When we got the idea together and we talked about it with them, we just kept getting closer and closer. So we go down to their sport on Saturdays in Cardiff. He gives us some great advice and tips. And it was the logical thing to do, right? They're a great bunch of people. There's not often, I know he's a failed booty. In fact, you can't even call him a failed booty because he never even made it to boot camp, right? Mm-hmm. He claimed the story of breaking his leg or cracking his knee anywhere near camp. But I think he just shit himself, excuse my language, and didn't even make it and decided to go off and travel, right? That's what I think the story is. So it's very unlikely you meet a civvy who has the same qualities as us, right? And we can, although we go a bit too far in the banter for him, he's a good crack. And his team is second to none, right? So if you want travel experts, which we're not, we trotted the globe, but we trotted the globe as fans, as punters, as booze hounds, as party animals. And we've had a good crack with our families or with the blokes. But you need that travel expertise. And Mark and his crew, they bring that. They give us the safety barrier. They've got all the ATOL and ABTA credentials that we need. They'll look after everybody. And one of the big things for them is that it's not just a flight and hotel, right? They have this thing that we like about them where they have this mantra called deliver the unexpected. And we're like, yeah, everyone's in the market to make a difference. But they actually are. So when Andy was talking about the £1 million, the £1 million target, that's what they're all about. They don't just want to send you off to Africa in a flight and hotel. They want to send you off to Africa and they want you to experience what they experienced over many, many years of sending schools and teams. So there's a very good synergy there, isn't there, between the two of you? You know, you've got all the on-the-ground experience and the fans and know what the fans won't be able to do that. And this man here has all the professional knowledge behind him to be able to support you. Please welcome Mr. MSG himself. Hello.
I told you he's been polishing.
You know, I spent the last 2 hours looking for this in the office, so I knew I had them somewhere.
Mark Gardner, welcome to the show, mate. Tell us a little bit about MSG and your background and why you set it up and why you're working with these bunch of reprobates.
Well, can I just clarify a couple of Dave's comments there? Going back 20 odd years ago, I was home for a military career in the Marines, but sadly a very badly timed knee dislocation paid to that. All right, so
there we go.
Thank you, Dave. That's the official line.
So you've got a background. Your background is over the last sort of 20, 30 years, isn't it? In the travel agency, you know, and then you set up MSG. Tell us a little bit about that. Why you set up MSG in the way that you do, because it is totally different than other travel agents I've come across.
Never ever call a tour operator a travel agent.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yellow card, yeah.
A tour operator.
Well, I ran my own business called Team Link between the year 2000 and 2013, and during that period we were fortunate enough to be bought out by TUI Travel, and at that period spending 4 or 5 years working with some of the best businesses in the UK market, just got to know a huge amount about how to I think how to work very creatively around the world with amazing people. But all these things come to an end, and sort of found myself in a position where I had to start up again. It was during that global recession. It was made redundant at that period, and thought, you know what, I just need to go again, but this time with no shackles, and really doing it in a way that sort of the public want, and having that creative edge. And yeah, I think not having the shackles and the ability just to have fun whilst you're doing it. And surely there's a few dozen people out there that wanted to be part of that little voyage, and a couple of groups joined together to form the New Zealand tour in 2017. And the way that we approach that, as the guys have said on the pod so far, is just to be brave, to really appeal to what actually people want to do, and that's to see every blade of grass in the country, meet the locals, but put a hell of a lot back in as well. Brits in particular love to travel. We love to make people feel happy. We love to feel happy ourselves, and that comes just through engaging with a multitude of people. And then I met these fellas.
Absolutely.
The yellow card back the British and Irish like to travel. Yellow card.
And what is it you find about them, mate? Why have you partnered with them? Sort of your expertise in the background. Theirs.
Be nice.
What is it, in all seriousness, about them that you put your brand and your reputation on the line with by working with these lads?
That's a strong statement. Is reputation on the line? Where do you think we are? From the gutter? What's that all about?
Well, I will be brutally honest, and it's we use this term a lot in the last week. It's the altruism of these guys. It's the ability to put other people first above anything else. And I was a very entertained bystander on one occasion in Japan. It was the Wales v Fiji game, if I'm right. No, sorry, the quarterfinal game, wasn't it, in Oita? And just watching these pop stars here just be surrounded constantly by curious Japanese locals and other fans who were just really intrigued by the story. But it takes it's a very exhausting process for these guys, being famous and snapping away. But they gave every single person the exact amount of attention. They were asking as many questions to others as they were being asked themselves. And the story is simple. You work with great people, you have a great fun, and everyone benefits. And all of our staff love the Lions in Pink. All of our regulars love the Lions in Pink. They are us. We are them. Our values and goals are very, very, very much aligned. We are a small to medium-sized business with no major shareholders, and therefore nobody to please or report into. So we can kind of do what the hell we want on that respect, and be as disruptive as we need to be. And we're at a point really where it's a buyer's market. The consumers out there have got a huge amount of choice right now, and certainly this Lions tour is showing. And the reason I'm still in the office at 9:15 this evening is that while these guys are all up and fun on your Jonathan Ross show, someone's got to stay and do the bloody admin on sale day. So, and it's been a busy one today. It's been a busy one fielding phone calls from some rather disgruntled customers in the public that don't want to pay the 8-9 grand to go and watch the Lions with one of our fellow companies who all do a sterling job. But at the same time, there's a price point that people are willing to pay. You can come with us and see these guys in action on a Tuesday morning is a Saturday night for these guys. They're the same pace all the way through. So you can have a great Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and a Monday with the Lions in Pink, and that's a really appealing factor to those that just want to laugh and have a great time on tour.
Yeah, listen, thanks for that, buddy. And genuinely, thanks for taking time to come on. I know it's been a real busy day following everybody's activities through in the chat online. I think the price point is brilliant. And it really does attract, me, because I just think, between you, what you're doing, lads, is hitting the right buttons for a lot of people at the right level. Titch Lee Wright says actually he can put some help through the High Commissioner if required once he is back in country. Help there.
Why did you take a podcast for him to say that? Why didn't you just reach out on WhatsApp and say that?
Because it's got an audience to say as well, so it's captured now forever. So there you go to help. Francis Johnson says, Francis, thank you. Can we donate money now to the MSG charities, and who do we contact?
Stop giving my inheritance away.
Francis, do it, Francis, do it. Emily says, go on, Mark Gardner. No paps. What goes on tour stays on tour. Used to, for difficult times now. Going back to the 80s and 90s, it was a different era, wasn't it? Dermot O'Rourke says, sign him up. Dermot, there you go. I'll put you directly in touch with the lads. Always really good to see. So, Dave Johnson, tell us about the tour packages briefly then. Here we go. What are we going to get? Sorry, just before you do, one of the points that Mark mentioned is it's all of the things that you do, the local activities, the local club, bringing everybody together. All of those things actually are freebies. That's where all the fun and everything is. So not only the price is really, really great value, absolutely great value, but all of those other things you do on top. And I think that's a winning thing for a lot of people. But tell people about sort of the package things that you put together, bud.
No, you're absolutely right, mate. Yeah, you can't look at this as just like we're going to fly you there and we're going to bed you somewhere and give you a bit of breakfast. It's not that. If you want that, then you're better off looking at the booking.com yourself. One of the things that we're doing in conjunction with MSG is that apart from what like Stu and Scott says looking after you, you're going to get so much more, right? So Mark has got so many years experience with South Africa. Jace lives there now. He's from there. There's so much local knowledge. So all your flights, your hotels, your airport transfers, and also, more importantly, the ground transport. So South Africa, you need ground transport to get amongst the places, right? That's going to be provided. All your socials and your pre-events. Mark and his team are really great at putting on a lot of events, and we've got some great ones lined up that we're going to keep in the bag in Joburg, in Eswatini, in Cape Town. They're just going to knock your socks off. The recovery day on Sunday is what is going to wet my whistle. I cannot wait for that thing to go on. It's going to be mental. Yeah. So the excursions that we've got planned in, you're going to see some great countryside. The garden route, for example, the vineyard, the sea, the coastline, the wildlife, the safari. You can't go to South Africa without being on the safari, right? Depending on which tour you go on, whether it be the first and second package, and this is just about when you're in country, right? So you can do the full July to August and take in the countryside while all the 3 tests are going on, or you can do the matches at Joburg and Cape Town, or Cape Town and Joburg. Those are going to give you all your flights, your hotels, your transfers, your excursions, your countryside, your ground transport, the social events, the pre-events. All that is tied in, and you're not going to get that anywhere else, mate. And that's what we've got. So we've got the 3 packages, and that's even outside the full tour, which the guys are working on from, I think it's a monumental 43 days. So there's a 20-day and there's 2 13 days where you can fly into Joburg, you can fly into Cape Town, fly out of Joburg, fly out of Cape Town. There's plenty of options for everybody. The accommodation we've got is second to none, right? It's centralised, it's safe, it's in great areas, it's easily accessible for public transport as well as the ground transport. It's nice and clean. It's great locations. Some of the places we've got in Cape Town are amazing. One of the places we're focusing on higher up into the town is 91 Loop, and it's like if you used to backpacker hotels, it's nothing like it with all the benefits. It's affordable. It's nice and cheap. It's very clean. It's centrally located. Great team that run the place, and it's got an amazing style dormitory. So yeah, the 3 offerings. You can go to MSG's website, or you can sign up, and we'll send you some details, and you can give all the details on that. And that's just what is included. If you want something extra, there's plenty of stuff there to throw in along the journey. But the main thing there was to make it very affordable. One of the you can call it a brief if you want. One of the conversations we had with Mark was that it had to be affordable, because when we were speaking to everybody in New Zealand, that was the biggest thing on their lips, right? Was that I'm saving up for this for 4 years. I'm putting the £50 a month, I'm putting the £100 a month away so I can travel, enjoy the full tour, the 3 matches, whatever they decide to go on. They can save up for 4 years and have to be affordable. So we've been working with them for a long time on getting these packages right. And I think these latest ones have hit the nail on the head, really. So. And
you're going to do some battlefield stuff as well, Dave, aren't you?
Yeah, we did. Me and Andy did Rorke's Drift. Immortalised by the movie, right, with Michael Caine.
I thought you meant you were there.
Sorry?
I thought you meant you were there.
That's just the silver fox from my mum's side, the Delagis, you know what I mean? That's all that is. You want to see it when I grow this a bit, as 2 silver streaks coming down there. When did we go to South Africa, Andy? What was the year? 2002?
About 2002.
So we went on that exped that Andy talked about, the diving exped. We organised the battlefield tours, went to Rorke's Drift.
Is that the Royal We, Dave, is it?
Sorry?
Is that the Royal We organised, since I did it all on my own?
Well, I went, didn't I?
Yeah, just going and drinking doesn't mean you're part of the organisation team.
Well, hang on. I wanted to get amazing amount of money. You know what I mean? If it wasn't for me, that tour wouldn't have happened.
Yeah,
cool. So we're gonna be doing some stuff. You're going to Island Wonder, aren't you, as well? In fact,
I'm Fugitive Drift. Yeah, so the 3 on the battlefield, there's 3 areas that people didn't know. So you got Rorke's Drift, where the movie was centralised around, and it's completely not what the movie talks about. It's the landscape is completely different. It's amazing. Island One is where it all started the morning before, defeat, and then you got Fugitive Drift, which is overlooked by Fugitive Lodge, and it's known by it's where Prince Charles and Diana spent one of their honeymoon nights when they were visiting Africa. It's one of the escape routes of the British soldiers, and again it's involved a small skirmish there. But the 3 sites, the countryside, the drive from Eswatini down to the battlefield, the overnight that we've got planned in the battlefields area, all that is just going to be kick. It's going to be brilliant, fantastic,
superb, great. Listen. Your partner in crime in Australia, and you've got to involve him because he's part of the team, and it's early in the morning, and he's got up or hasn't been to bed. One of the 2 says, "Test the boys on the pronunciation of South African places." Stu, give us some pronunciations, mate.
Nils.
He spelled North wrong for a start.
So Nelsborough. It's not called Nelsborough. It's called Nelsborough.
Can I do my version of it, Joe?
Yeah, mate, go on.
In Santa Luana.
There you go.
Adapt and overcome, use of technology, all those great things. That's why you know that this is
Joe, I think there's something wrong with my mic. My mic's not working properly. I'll lose that one.
Right, there you go.
2 hours ago, how to say.
Yeah.
It all wrong still.
Anyway, Titch says that you're a handsome bunch. I think he's trying to get sort of a discount there, mate, to be honest. Keep plugging away.
He's a good-looking lad himself.
Absolutely. Gareth Lee says what goes on top of Facebook. It doesn't talk now, but you'll be well looked after by these guys. So, Scott, tell us about how you can book this, buddy.
Right, okay. There's a few ways. I'll probably get it wrong, but here we go. You can obviously go on to you can obviously go on to the Lions in Pink. So you can email us at info@lionsinpinktours.co.uk. Or you can go onto our Facebook site. There's a link on there. We're on Instagram, #LionsInPinkTours, or you can go direct to MSG Tours as well. And hopefully you've got a little thing you can put for us there.
There you go. He's fully actively involved as a member of the team from Australia.
Hey, as if by magic. And here's one I sort of produced before. Here we go. Lines at msgtours.com. This was the lads on a previous talk. Crazy bunch. info@lionsinpink.co.uk, or the main site lionsinpink.co.uk or msgtours.com. Mark, that's correct, isn't it?
So we have to get Jace's name in right. So Jace is going through a power shed at the moment in Cape Town, and he's got no broadband, no nothing. His phone signal, because he's a skinflint and he wouldn't fork out on any 4G, he can't even log in. So we've got to mention James for the recording, right? Because he'd be completely gutted. When he told us this afternoon that he was going for a power shed, he was grumpy as frig.
Good man, Jace. We have missed you tonight. The boys were honestly, mate. Honestly, there was lots of yellow cards before because you failed to turn up. You adapt and overcome. Don't be blaming the country for the power failures and stuff like that. You failed to turn up on duty, on time for the show. So there's a crate on you, mate. There you go. So you got a yellow card in the crate. There's also a crate there for Dave Johnson at the beginning for missing off Island, but we'll sort of get over that because then he's got an Irish background here, mate. It's not going to last. In all seriousness, lads. Stu, give us the one thing to finish off with that you want as a fan to take away. If a fan can come up to you afterwards at the end of the tour and say, if you're that fan, what was the one thing, the abiding memory that you want them to take away, buddy?
That's a very good question, Joe. And I'll probably
Closed it.
I
was a copper. I'm very good at this questioning malarkey.
Come on, Stu, come on.
Practice.
I think what it turns down to is, as a travelling fan,
Is it easier if I put a spotlight in your eyes, mate? Like
Or tell him that you're finishing in 2 minutes. Come on.
all right, yeah. So as a travelling fan, what I would like to have is value for money for starters. Come away with an experience where I would say, with those lads there, with Mark and MSG, I would book again because the crack and the stories and the blurred memory in the mornings when there's no time off from the drink club. That's why I would want to be with going away with it as a group, because you're going to have memories that we bring to the parties. We'll have the social aspects, but as well, we'll be fans with you, in the stadium with you, looking after you. And yeah.
Come on, well done. No, brilliant. And I apologise, lads, everybody, boys and girls who are watching. A bit sort of cackly there, but he's in Mogadishu, to be fair. He's only in sort of downtown, sort of Birmingham or sort of Dublin or something like that, where you've got them. So fair play, mate, for making it on tonight. At least you made it, Jace. Just saying, all the people are available to take your place, Jace, and all right. There you go. Well done for coming on, Stu. Thanks for that, mate. Stay safe in all seriousness out there. Andy Walton, what do you want people to take away from the tour?
There's no corporate lines whatsoever. I just want people to text home or message home on Facebook or whatever, however they're gonna be touching base with their friends and family and say my belly hurts because I've laughed so much. I've never laughed so much for so many years, and that's what I just want it to be. I want someone to come away and just have an absolute ball and laugh.
Good man yourself. Scott Wilson.
Okay, for me, unless selected for the Lions, you ain't playing rugby out there. So like you alluded to earlier on, Joe, let's do the touring aspect of it. So I want people to go away and say they were on tour, they knew they were on tour, and had the laugh, a bit like Andy just said. But most of all, they remembered that they were looked after. They got looked after while they're out there.
Good drills. Mark Gardner, you are doing this, sir. One raising £1 million for a number of different charities. Fair play to you. You've got this man on board, the Beast, Tendai. Jeez, can't wait till we get him on the show and talk to him. What an absolute great brand ambassador to be involved with the work that he's doing. Tell us what you want people to take away from the tour on behalf of MSG.
I would love people to be coming back from South Africa celebrating a 2-1 Lions victory with a winning try in the last couple of seconds, preferably by a Welshman. But
Will there be any?
I want every single person that travels with our company and the Lions in Pink to be, do you know what, happy but proud of the contribution that they made to South Africa. It's part of our drive, not only the R1 million, but also to promote responsible tourism. Absolutely. And this is one area that really struck home when I came back from Japan and I reflected in my notes on my footprint. Now, I felt great because I used a lot of the scheduled bullet trains that were going around the country anyway. They were going without me, if I was on it or not. That train was going from A to B. But I also drank an awful lot of bottled water, and every time I bought sushi, being a vegetarian but eating fish, I had a lot of sushi from places. And in Japan, you get something in a plastic wrapper that comes in a plastic bag with an envelope, with napkins in a plastic bag. And once they got that together, they put it in a plastic bag and double bag it. And if you've got any drinks to go with it, they put that in a bag as well. So before the day is finished, you've left a hell of a footprint on the planet just by being a little irresponsible. So to combat that in South Africa, and this is where Sam and our team is spending the next 5-6 months plotting this out, is that we are really aiming to drive down the footprint that every person is making in South Africa. So there'll be no plastics whatsoever permitted on any transportation that we are provided. So instead, we're working with a local producer to bring chilled water in fully recyclable cardboard cartons for every single passenger. Coffee is such a big part of what we do anyway, and most people are hot drink drinkers. So everyone will have their own coffee cup with sterilizing tablets that is theirs for the whole of the journey. All of the masks that we'll be providing that we use in social distancing areas will be fully washable and made by recycled materials. The majority of the kit that our fans will be getting will be made in South Africa, that provides jobs and helps that economy. We are taking our tours all around the country. We're working with local guides. So our recruitment, our employment, our manufacturing is all designed to leave a minimal footprint and a maximum, the maximum size smile, really, keeping as many people paid, educated, engaged. And with that in mind, we feel good with ourselves. We hope everyone else does too.
Absolutely. Should have finished off with that. It's going to be hard to beat. Well done, mate. And I think those it's going that extra mile. It's doing that little bit more than anybody else is doing, but you're doing a whole pile more. And and a lot of this stuff I'm just learning about what you're doing. In the sort of last week or so since I've been joining, sort of doing my research on MSG and talking to the lads and yourself and stuff. Phenomenal. Captain Dave, finishes off, mate, with what you want people to take away from your tour.
I want you to put
Dave's good at finishing people off.
Whatever I say now makes me sound like a capitalist, non-environmentalist scumbag, right? So,
well,
simple.
If the lion's hat fits.
Ooh. So, I'm probably one of the most easily embarrassed people in the group, right? Although sometimes I'm outlandish, I'm easily embarrassed. If somebody, when Andy and Stu convinced me to wear the pink suit, I can see the value in breaking the ice and breaking down those barriers and meeting so many people. If the people that come with us, or even go to South Africa and spend some time with us, or MSG, can experience what we experience in New Zealand, in Japan, the Six Nations in Cardiff, wearing these suits and being ridiculous and funny and happy and having a great time, and realizing how many other fans they can interact with, I'll be happy with that. That's my goal. So they can see and speak and meet to other fans that they can speak to for the next 20, 30 years. That's what I want.
Good man. That's great to finish on, lads. It's been a real pleasure. I title this show and moving forward, A Lively Lions Tour with the Lions in Pink. It will be.
Joe, I know you say you're finishing with this, but can I finish with one question? Are you coming with us?
I'd love to. I'm not in a position to do so unless I carry your bag, sir. But I will be with you in more ways than one. And this is the beginning of a journey. So whether I'm physically there or not, there'll be lots, and this is now an integral part of my planning for our shows and coverage of the stuff that we're doing in South Africa. We can put enough things in place, and I feel confident that we can with our South African team and our Springbok and South African Rugby Roundup show and our coverage there. So I think it is whether you are physically there or whether I'll be there virtually with you and covering shows and helping you between now and then getting through stuff.
Sure we can do a live feeding from South Africa, Joe.
There'll be all sorts of stuff we'll be doing. Trust me, it's just the case of putting it all together, and I'm glad we've made the first step, lads, and put myself fully behind what you're doing. I have to thank Mark Gardner from MSG Tours. So this is where you need to go, lads. Go to you can email them at lines@msgtours.com. You can go to msgtours.com. In its own right, you can go to linesandpinktours.co.uk, or you can send an email to info@linesandpinktours.co.uk. Go to the Facebook pages as well. There's lots of ways. Contact me, contact Three Blokes of Ball BOD or any of our shows, and we can put you in touch with everybody and get you sorted. The only question that is the one that you've missed is the only bone question is the one that you don't ask. Ask the question. You're not committed to anything, but these lads will keep you straight, both at MSG Tours and at Lion and Pink Tours as well. Gareth Rees says, thanks, gents, great humour and wonderful messages in respect of tour objectives, charity projects and the footprint. Absolutely well. Joe Ledger, Joseph says, top content, chaps. Thanks all. Dim O'Rourke, Three Blokes to South Africa, sign me up. Absolutely, I will put you in touch with Dave tomorrow. Damon's one of my good mates, so great to have you there. Steve Marsh says, this will be my retirement present to myself when I leave the army. Okay, there we go, lads. I'd like to thank everybody who's joined us tonight, and we'll watch over the next 7 days. The show stays live. You just watch it on catch up, and to Andy Walton, to Stu Mogadishu, stay safe, brother. Whatever you're doing out there, take no risks, mate. Scott Wilson, thank you. It's a real pleasure. Thank you for saving your brother in arms earlier on in the show. That was a good mark. I like that. Mark Gardner, wish you all the best, mate, and look forward to doing more work with you in the future. David Johnson, thank you, mate. Real pleasure. And it's been
thank you, mate. Whey!
Great crack so
Thank
far.
you very much.
And we look forward to everybody go and follow the Lions and Pink Tour page and the MSG Tours page as well on Facebook, and everything will be there. There'll be lots of live updates. There'll be lots more of these shows as we move forward to the future. I'm Big Joe Shep, the one and only. Until next time from Ireland here, I'll leave you this on the page. Guys, just in the studio. Just stay in the studio while we close down. There we go.
Thank you very much, Joe. Thanks so much for tonight.
As Joe Rogan says, we're out.
You crazy bunch of sappers. There we go. See you soon, lads. Take care. Great crack.
Cheers.